Hello friends, my name is Brian and this is my YouTube channel, This Fantastic Life. In this episode, you're in for a real treat. I've gone through all of my photos from the past 35 years and I've narrowed it down to the top 50 sites that I think you should see in the United States before you die. So put these on your bucket list. And if you've already been to some of them, then pat yourself on the back for checking them off and enjoy reminiscing as I go through the different pictures. Now, before we get started, I'd like to encourage you to click the subscribe button, which is the little van icon in the lower right-hand corner of your screen there. If you just click on that and enter your email address, you'll be subscribed to my channel and you'll be able to see my content whenever I post new things, and it'll really help me out a lot. Sometimes photography can be a real adventure, and people don't realize how much effort it goes into taking just one great photograph. You might have to travel back 50 miles on a bumpy road, or drive across country, or hike for 10 miles, backpacking in, getting up at 4:30 in the morning to see the sunrise, etc. And it's just rewarding to be able to have that one great photo and to think about all the effort that went into making the photo and making this YouTube channel. So please click like and subscribe and sit back and enjoy the show. It wasn't easy for me to choose the top 50 things, and I've had to leave some things out, of course. Some great cities that we've seen that I haven't put in the show, like San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and some national parks like Great Smoky Mountains and Wrangell St. Elias and Kenai Fjords had missed the cut here. Also, great places like Antelope Canyon and Horseshoe Bend. However, whether you agree with my top 50 or not, I hope you really are inspired by the slides in the show and get out there and do a little bit of your own adventuring. Coming in at number 50 is Walt Disney World, Florida. I almost hesitated to put this on the list at all, but I figured I really had to. This was my favorite childhood vacation. Went there when I was 10 years old for the first time. We went there with the band in high school, and we really had a great time. We also had fun on 2 trips where we took our family down there when my daughter was very young, and we dressed up as the 7 Dwarfs t-shirts because there were 7 of us. Really enjoyed the old school rides, It's a Small World, Country Bear Jamboree, Tom Sawyer Island, etc. I remember when they had 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and River Country back in the old days. Also like the newer parks, newer to me anyway, Epcot and Animal Kingdom, MGM Studios, etc. It's just a great place to go and experience your inner child again. Number 49 is a local favorite of mine living in Pennsylvania. This is Ricketts Glen State Park, which is in northeastern Pennsylvania. And if you hike this 3-mile trail in a triangular shape around Ricketts Glen, you can pass by at least 20 named waterfalls. Beautiful no matter what the season. Number 48 is Medicine Bow National Forest near Laramie, Wyoming. This very interesting national forest has different areas, including the Vedauwoo rock climbing area and Muir Lake and Libby Lake, as well as the Medicine Bow Peak. Number 47 is Harper's Ferry, West Virginia. The first town on the list, Harper's Ferry, sits at the intersection of Virginia, Maryland, and West Virginia, and the confluence of the Potomac and Shenandoah rivers. It was the site of John Brown's raid on the Federal Armory in 1859. Be sure to take the Loudon Heights hike and the Maryland Heights hikes for beautiful views back of the town. Number 46, Smith Rock State Park, located in Central Oregon. Smith Rock is generally considered the birthplace of modern American sport climbing. Absolutely beautiful, stunning scenery. Number 45, Gettysburg National Military Park, another local favorite of mine. Ever since I was a child, we'd take field trips to Gettysburg. I especially enjoy it in the fall when the leaves are falling and it's very peaceful. The visitor center has a cyclorama painting that goes 360 degrees inside and a battlefield map that lights up. Gettysburg was the turning point of the Civil War. The battle was fought on July 1, 2, and 3 in 1863. The Gettysburg National Cemetery is also on the grounds. This was the site of Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. Number 44, Sequoia National Park. Sequoia National Park was the second national park in the national park system, founded in 1890. Only Yellowstone is older. Sequoia National Park is notable for its giant sequoia trees. The General Sherman tree in the giant forest is the largest tree on Earth by volume. Number 43, Michigan's Upper Peninsula, a best-kept secret of the Midwest. This area includes Saugatuck Dunes State Park, Mackinac Island, Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore, the Porcupine Mountains, and nearby in Wisconsin, Apostle Islands National Lakeshore. Also, Taconiman Falls State Park. Number 42, Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument. This includes Kodachrome Basin State Park, Escalante Petrified Forest, Lower Calf Creek Falls, Number 41 is New York City. Although I'm not much of a city person, New York is only 3 hours drive from where I live, and I really enjoy going up there for a weekend trip and walking around Central Park or Times Square at night, going up the Empire State Building or Rockefeller Center, walking around the 9/11 Memorial and One Freedom Tower and the Oculus, walking across the Brooklyn Bridge or taking the ferry over to the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island. New York is especially beautiful in the wintertime, where we go skating at Bryant Park or watch the lights and shoppers at Rockefeller Center and take in the Radio City Music Hall's Rockettes Christmas Spectacular Show. Number 40 is the Black Hills in South Dakota. This area includes the Custer National Cemetery at Little Bighorn, where Custer had his last stand, the Crazy Horse Memorial, the Needles Highway in Custer State Park, Sylvan Lake, also in Custer State Park, as well as Mount Rushmore. Although I personally think Mount Rushmore is a little touristy, it has to be in the top 40. Number 39, Muir Woods National Monument. Muir Woods sits just north of San Francisco in the Golden Gate National Recreation Area, and it protects 550 acres of old-growth redwood trees. It's really a serene area. It feels like walking in God's cathedral. Number 38, the Hudson River Valley. Starting with Harriman State Park, just north of New York City, which includes Bear Mountain and the beautiful Bear Mountain Bridge, views of the Hudson River from Peekskill, where our friend Chrissy used to live, and then moving north to Hyde Park, New York, and the FDR Springwood home, and the Vanderbilt Mansion, with absolutely stunning views of the Hudson River. We enjoy going crew boat rowing on the Hudson with our friend Nicole, and have very many good memories of the area. Number 37, Katmai National Park in Alaska. In order to get to Katmai, we flew to Anchorage, and then we took a float plane from Anchorage to Brooks Lodge, landing on the water. As soon as you arrive, you have training for how to deal with bears, and let me tell you, this is the place to see the Alaskan brown bear, otherwise known as a grizzly bear. This is the spot where you see all the famous pictures of the grizzly bears at Brooks Falls, standing in the water catching salmon as they swim upstream. Also, while you're there, don't forget to go and see the Valley of 10,000 Smokes. Number 36, Cape May, New Jersey, one of my favorite beach destinations along the Jersey Shore. I have so many wonderful memories here of our foreign exchange students and our German relatives coming to visit, as well as our daughter and our family staying in the Chalfont, enjoying the Victorian architecture of the town, and riding bicycles around, watching the sunset or the sunrise. Beautiful, peaceful, old-fashioned seashore resort. Number 35, Dinosaur National Monument, located just over the border from Colorado in the area of Utah, at the confluence of the Green and Yampa rivers. Dinosaur National Monument is home to the newly renovated Dinosaur Quarry, which is a shelter that actually still has dinosaur fossils on the side of the hill. Many of the wonderful full dinosaur fossil remains in the Carnegie Museum in Pittsburgh have come from this area. Number 34, Sedona, Arizona. Again, I was a little hesitant to put this touristy spot on my list, but Sedona is a must-see. Sedona is located in the Coconino National Forest in Arizona and includes such named attractions as Bell Rock, Cathedral Rock, the Courthouse, the Chapel of the Holy Cross, Devil's Bridge, and Bertha Cave. And it's an Instagrammer's photography heaven. Number 33, Everglades National Park. Located in Central Florida, Everglades is the largest tropical wilderness park in the United States and is home to
many mangrove islands, and you can see all sorts of wildlife there, including a bunch of shorebirds, especially great blue herons, turtles, alligators, etc. Number 32, Joshua Tree National Park. Located just north of Palm Springs in southeastern California. The park was originally established as a national monument in 1936 and redesignated a national park in 1994. It protects a desert wildlife habitat, including beautiful wildflowers, a cholla forest, the Joshua trees themselves. It also has a lot of large stones known as jumbo rocks, including Skull Rock, and beautiful views of the San Bernardino Mountains. And number 31, we have Grand Teton National Park. Now, I know a lot of you are wondering why this isn't higher on my list. However, there are just so many beautiful places in the United States that it had to drop down to number 31. For me, it's because the park really is only one-dimensional. It has some of the most spectacular Rocky Mountain scenery there is, with a large drop-off from the peaks of the Tetons to the valley floor below, and the Snake River and Jackson Lake winding through. Some of the more popular places in the park are Coulter Bay, Jackson Lake, Jenny Lake, Taggart Lake, Moore Monroe, and Schwabacher Landing. Number 30 is the Arizona Desert. The Arizona Desert includes the area around Phoenix and Tucson. We went there in March of 2019 during the wildflower super bloom. It was absolutely amazing. We enjoyed views from Picacho State Park, Lost Dutchman State Park, the Superstition Mountains, the Tonto National Forest, and Bartlett Lake. We also enjoyed the Desert Botanical Gardens. A little farther south, Saguaro National Park, and Mount Lemmon. Number 29, Petrified Forest National Park, located in northeastern Arizona. Petrified Forest preserves acre after acre of petrified trees in areas known as the Crystal Forest. There's also an agate house there. There's Blue Mesa and the famous Painted Desert. The area also protects ancient Native American petroglyphs as well as the Puerto Pueblo community. Number 28, Chaco Canyon National Historical Park, located in northern New Mexico. This area preserves one of the most important pre-Columbian cultural and historical areas in the United States, and it was home to a major center of ancestral Puebloans between the years AD 900 and AD 1150. It includes beautiful architectural remains, including the Chetro Kettle, Pueblo Bonito, and Pueblo del Arroyo. It also has a number of Indian petroglyphs. Number 27, Badlands National Park. The first couple times I visited Badlands, I was not very impressed. It was incredibly hot and dry, and I just didn't appreciate the weather. However, on my last visit, I came away just absolutely stunned. It's a great place for boondocking on the No Bad View just outside the National Park entrance. Get up early if you go and enjoy the cooler weather and the smaller crowds. You'll also see lots of bighorn sheep on the hills and do some hiking without getting overheated. Number 26 is the entire state of Hawaii. While we only went to 4 of the islands, we visited them on 2 occasions on Norwegian Cruise Line, taking cruises between the different islands. This is a great way to visit the islands, by the way. It saves you a lot on flights. My parents also went there for their 50th wedding anniversary. There's so much to see and do in Hawaii, from the beautiful views of Diamond Head and the Waikiki Beach to Haleakala Crater National Park, to Hawaii volcanoes, where there's still an active volcano and the lava spews into the ocean. Beautiful Rainbow Falls, Waimea Canyon, snorkeling, the USS Arizona Memorial in Pearl Harbor, the Road to Hana, and also the famous Nepali coast. While you're there, don't forget to take in a luau. Make sure you also Number 25, White Sands National Park. Located in New Mexico, White Sands is one of the newer national parks in the system. It's absolutely stunning, beautiful scenery. You drive in on this white gypsum, and it feels like you're driving on snow. Just the wind blowing will always create new shapes and patterns and ripples in the sand, and it's absolutely stunning for a sunset. Number 24, and probably my favorite city in the United States, which is Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is only 3 hours from where I live, so I get there frequently. I like to go every year for the Cherry Blossom Festival in late March and early April. There's so much to see and do in Washington, D.C., and most of it's free. From the Capitol to the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, the White House, and all around the tidal basin, where the World War II Memorial, World War I Memorial, Franklin Delano Roosevelt Memorial, Martin Luther King Monument, Jefferson Memorial, lots of beautiful museums, including the Smithsonian, the Natural History Museums, one of my favorites, the American History Museum, the Spy Museum, the Hirshhorn Museum, the National Gallery of Art, the Holocaust Museum. And then there's also the National Archives and the National Zoo nearby, as well as the new African American Museum. There's just so much to do on the mall area, and it's all in walking distance from each other. Number 23, Olympic National Park, located in the Pacific Northwest in the state of Washington. Olympic National Park has 3 different kinds of ecosystems. There's the mountain range and the Hurricane Ridge, where you can see deer and other wildlife. Then there's the Hoh Rainforest, one of the wettest places in the United States. Beautiful waterfalls in there, including Maramere Falls and Solduck Falls. And then there's also the Washington State coast, where there are beaches and you can go and explore the tide pools. So many different ecosystems all in one place makes Olympic National Park one of my favorites. Number 22, Valley of Fire State Park in Arizona. Also on my top 10 list of van life destinations in Arizona. This is just outside of Las Vegas, a short hour drive from Las Vegas. And it has so many different named features in it, including the Beehive, Atlatl Rock petroglyphs, Arch Rock, the Elephant, the Fire Wave, which is similar to the Wave in Vermilion Cliffs, White Domes, Fire Canyon Road, etc. It gets really hot there, but man, the scenery is spectacular. Coming in at number 21 is Grand Canyon National Park. The Colorado River has meandered through this area and carved out this canyon over the eons. There's both the South Rim, which is the more popular rim, closest to populated areas, and has the more famous overlooks. But then if you drive another 150 miles around to the North Rim, only about 10 miles across as the crow flies, you'll have the place pretty much to yourself. The North Rim sits even higher than the South Rim and has a greater diversity of types of overlooks, and it's a lot more peaceful and quieter. It has its own different wildlife and ecosystem there. Number 20, Rocky Mountain National Park, located near Estes Park, Colorado. I highly recommend, if you visit Rocky Mountain National Park, to get up super early and to avoid the crowds. This is also when the elk are out grazing in the high meadows. Rocky Mountain has some of the most spectacular, stunning scenery west of the Mississippi. There's all sorts of mountain lakes that you can hike to, including Bear Lake, Hiawatha Bear Lake, Dream Lake, Sheep Lakes, and the Loch. Wildlife includes elk and bighorn sheep. Number 19, Mesa Verde National Park. Similar to Chaco Canyon, Mesa Verde has some of the best preserved ancestral Puebloan cliff dwellings in the United States. And it's just so popular because you can go and walk through many of these cliff dwellings. We enjoyed Cliff Palace, Balcony House, Spruce Tree House, and Long House. But you also get views of Square Tower House and Sunset House, the Sun Temple, Fire Temple, New Firehouse, Oak Tree House, and many more. Number 18, you might be surprised by this one, is Bisti Badlands in the De-Na-Zin wilderness area of New Mexico. Bisti Badlands is an experience all in and of itself. Because it's a wilderness area, there are no formal trails, and you just go out onto the landscape with your compass or your GPS and you explore. There are a number of named features there, including Hutto City, the Alien Woman, the Rock Garden, there's Petrified Wood, there's the Ostrich, the Cracked Eggs, the Manta Rays, and the Flat Tops. Bisti Badlands is an otherworldly environment. You'll never see anything like this in the United States. Very unique. Number 17, the Pacific Coast Highway. In Northern California, both south of San Francisco, where there's Rockaway Beach and Pescadero Beach, Pigeon Point Light Station, Ano Nuevo State Park, and the Bixby Bridge, also McWay Falls, and then also north of San Francisco and the Golden Gate Bridge and the Point Reyes Lighthouse, the Sonoma Coast, the Mendocino Headlands, and Russian Gulch State Park, as well as Glass Beach near Fort Bragg, California. Number 16, Crater Lake National Park. We first visited Crater Lake in 1992 on our cross-country trip. Please see my earlier video for a slideshow of that trip. And when we arrived, it was completely engulfed in a fog, and we wondered whether or not we should stay another day and wait for the fog to clear, or whether we should move on our itinerary. We decided to stay, and boy, was it worth it. The clouds cleared the next day, and you had the most beautiful blue-colored lake. Crater Lake is one of the deepest lakes in the country, and that's why it's so blue. Number 15, I was absolutely blown away by the Oregon coast. Starting in the south at Harris Beach and working our way northward, we went to Natural Bridges in the Samuel Boardman Scenic Area. This is an absolutely amazing area, especially around the Arch Rock picnic area. We went here in late afternoon, and then we went boondocking a little bit north of there along the Pacific Coast Highway and came back for sunset. Absolutely stunning scenery. The best scenery I've ever had for sunset along the Oregon coast. Also further north is Gold Beach and Battle Rock, and coastal views from Ecola State Park and Indian Beach, as well as Haystack Rock and Cannon Beach. Number 14 is Acadia National Park in Maine. I could go to Maine every year. Acadia is another overloved park. It gets very crowded in the summertime, especially in late August when the blueberries are in season for picking. When you go to Acadia National Park, there are some things that you can't miss. You want to get up and make sure you have your reservations for sunrise from Cadillac Mountain. Watch the sunrise over the easternmost part of the United States. You also want to go to Jordan Pond House and get your popovers for brunch or lunch, and do the hike around the Jordan Lake or hike up the Bubbles, and get your bike out or rent a bike and ride on the carriage trails. And then make sure in the evening you drive down past Eagle Lake to the Bass Harbor Lighthouse and Bass Harbor for sunset. Number 13 is Alabama Hills Bureau of Land Management area. Alabama Hills is located in the Sierra Nevadas, just east of Mount Whitney in southeastern California near Lone Pine. Alabama Hills is a popular boondocking area, well known among van lifers, but probably not well known to many of the rest of you. And the scenery here is absolutely stunning. A lot of movies were filmed here. In fact, there's a dirt road there called Movie Road where we boondocked on it. And you can take a hike to see a number of small arches, including Mobius Arch and one that they call the Eye and the Heart Arch. This area is great for sunsets. It's a very magical place, and I can't wait to go back there. Number 12, Bryce Canyon National Park, part of Utah's Mighty Five. Bryce Canyon is actually an amphitheater, and it's the most accessible national park that I've ever been to. You can easily drive to a number of scenic overlooks. If you don't like hiking, you can go to Sunrise Point or Sunset Point. You can also drive out to Piracy Point and Agua Canyon, Rainbow Point, Inspiration Point, Bryce Point, Pariah View, and Fairyland area. It's also good for hiking. We especially appreciated the Navajo Loop Trail and the Queen's Garden Trail, and also hiking down Wall Street. Number 11, Mount Rainier National Park, located in Washington State in the Cascade Mountain Range. We've had good weather every time we've gone to Mount Rainier, and the alpine scenery there is absolutely amazing. Beautiful, beautiful wildflowers with the backdrop of Mount Rainier in the background. There's also some beautiful waterfalls there, including Myrtle Falls and Narada Falls. Well, we're finally there. Top 10. Number 10 is Denali National Park in Alaska. Denali is a few hours drive from Anchorage, Alaska, which is our base of operations. In Denali, you have about 200 miles of unimproved road. You can only drive in the first small section of that on your own vehicle. After that, you have to take a tour bus. Denali has the highest mountain in all of North America, formerly called Mount McKinley and now called Mount Denali. And it has a wide variety of wildlife. We've seen many grizzly bears there, moose, caribou, Dall sheep, the stunning scenery of the Teclanita River and Wonder Lake, views from the Eielson Visitor Center, and every so often you can actually get a peek of the north face of Mount McKinley. Number 9, Zion National Park. Also part of Utah's Mighty Five, which you can see in episode 26. And you can also see my other YouTube video on Zion's Best Kept Secret in episode 25. Zion National Park is unique in that you can actually drive down into the canyon. There are a number of interesting hikes there, including probably the most famous hike, Angel's Landing, but we prefer going to the east side of the park and taking the Observation Point hike, less dangerous, less strenuous, and it has better views. You can also hike the Narrows and the Virgin River valley floor as far as you like, or you can do the high country as my wife did in another previous episode called the Zion Traverse. There are also shorter hikes to Lower Emerald Pools and along the Riverside Walk, as well as the Paris Trail. I highly recommend that you drive to the eastern side of the park though, and make sure you explore this lesser known area. Number 8, Big Bend National Park. Many of you are probably surprised to see Big Bend in the top 10. However, if you've ever been there, you'll understand why. Big Bend is located in the panhandle of Texas, near El Paso, and it has some of the most amazing desert scenery you'll see anywhere in the United States. There are all sorts of different areas to explore, including the Chisos Mountain Range, and the Mule Ears, the Santa Elena Canyon, Tufts Canyon, and of course the Rio Grande. Number 7, and another local favorite of mine, one of my favorite places to go, is my happy place, is Longwood Gardens, located in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, just north of the Delaware border. Longwood Gardens is beautiful any time of year, and they have different festivals, including the Chrysanthemum Festival in the fall, the Orchid Festival in the spring. Every Christmas they have a spectacular Christmas show. In the summertime they have beautiful lighted fountain shows and fireworks. They have concerts, they have a beer garden, and the grounds are immaculately kept. There is a huge conservatory for indoor plants, and this is a botanist's dream. You can go here and hike in the meadows, you can look at the bonsai trees, you can walk around the fountains, you can listen to music. You can go in the evenings and see the different lighted shows. It's really an amazing place. Just a photographer's paradise. I find such peace when I go there. Number 6 is Arches National Park, again part of Utah's Mighty Five. Arches National Park has the highest concentration of natural arches anywhere in the world. There are so many different areas to explore. The first thing you're going to want to do, though, is make sure you get out and do the delicate arch hike at sunrise or at sunset. And then make sure you explore the area near Double Arch, the north and south windows. And then go to the Devil's Garden Trail and hike to Landscape Arch, Pine Tree Arch, Partition Arch, Tunnel Arch, and Navajo Arch. There are so many named arches that you almost can't keep track of them. Also, be sure to explore the Fiery Furnace area with your guided ranger tour. Number 5 is Monument Valley Navajo Tribal Park. Monument Valley is featured in episode 27, and be sure to watch that. That's a very special video. Monument Valley is located on the Navajo tribal lands, and you have to pay in order to drive a 17-mile dirt loop road in and among the amazing buttes and other rock formations that are sacred to the Native Americans. But while you're there, make sure you also pay extra to have a guided tour of Hunt's Mesa. Along with your guide, you can camp overnight and have the most stunning views of Monument Valley. Honest to God, I felt like I was in heaven when I was there. I've never felt a more peaceful, serene place in all my life. The views are just spectacular. They're just out of this world. You just can't even believe that there's anything this beautiful. Make sure you get there. Number 4, Death Valley National Park, located in Southern California. Death Valley, despite its name and despite its reputation for being the hottest place on Earth, is also one of the most scenic places in the United States. There are so many different places to explore in Death Valley that you could spend easily half a week there. Set up camp at the Furnace Creek and then go and explore. Make sure you get up early and see the sunrise from Zabriskie Point or from Dante's Peak. Also, you want to drive down to Badwater and walk out onto the salt flats. You want to explore Artist Point and Natural Bridge, and then you can drive farther north in the park to Scotty's Castle, the Ubehebe Crater, and west to Mesquite Sand Dunes and Father Crowley Point. No matter where you go, you're sure to experience amazing scenery. Coming in at number 3 is Glacier National Park in Montana. Glacier is home to some of the most spectacular mountain scenery in all the United States, including beautiful waterfalls, pristine mountain lakes, all sorts of wildflowers, wildlife including bears, yellow-bellied marmots, and mountain goats that will come right up to you on the trail at Logan Pass. Make sure you explore the Lake McDonald area, Many Glacier area, Swift Current Lake, Mary's Lake, Josephine Lake, Apecuni Falls, the hike to Hidden Lake, and also enjoy the spectacular and scary driving along the Going to the Sun Road. Number 2, Yellowstone National Park, America's first national park. Been to Yellowstone a number of times and always enjoy coming in from the north entrance. I like to visit Mammoth Hot Springs and the terraces in the early morning where the mist is rising off of them. You'll also get to see pronghorn along the way and many elk in the area. Then I drive down the top left side of the Figure 8 to the Norris Geyser region, and then the Madison area, and then finally down the lower left-hand side of the Figure 8 to the Old Faithful area. Here you're going to want to check in at the Visitor Center with one of the geyser gazers and look at the board to see when the geysers are going to go off. There are so many geysers to explore in the area, including Beehive, Riverside, Daisy, Castle, and Grand Geyser, as well as of the ever faithful Old Faithful. Then continuing on the Figure 8 to the south part, you go to West Thumb and the lake area, and then start going up the lower right hand side of the Figure 8 to fishing camp area, and finally up to Canyon Village. Now you drive through the Hayden Valley and over Dunraven Pass up to Tower Falls and Yellowstone Canyon, the beautiful Artist Point, and the area of Roosevelt where there's a petrified tree. And then of course you want to make sure you check out the northeast entrance. Here is a good area for you to spot wolves and bison. Finally, we hit number 1, Yosemite National Park, my favorite place in the entire world. Yosemite has it all. The most spectacular scenery anywhere. There are so many different areas to explore. In addition to the Yosemite Valley floor, where there are the prettiest waterfalls anywhere in North America, Upper and Lower Yosemite Falls, Bridal Veil Falls, a hike to Vernal Falls and Nevada Falls, or even farther to Illilouette Falls. Also, spectacular mountain hiking. If you go to Glacier Point, you can hike down past Illilouette Falls to the top of Nevada Falls, and then you can go down to Happy Valley, past Vernal Falls. Another hike is to start at the Happy Valley Nature Area and go up the Mist Trail or the John Muir Trail, past Vernal Falls, Nevada Falls, to the Little Yosemite Valley, and then continue on to Half Dome. Make sure you have your permit there, and you can climb up the cables to the summit of Half Dome. An experience in and of itself. Please see my earlier episode on climbing Half Dome in our mid-50s. Also, make sure you explore the Tioga Road and you stop at Tenaya Lake and at Olmsted Point, and then drive out to Tuolumne Meadows and do the hike to Lambert Dome. Also, make sure you check out the Hetch Hetchy area, the least visited area of the park in the northwest corner of the park, where the Shogesi Dam is. Hetch Hetchy is a mini Yosemite Valley that has been flooded, and it's still amazingly beautiful. Take the time to drive out the dirt road and go explore Hetch Hetchy. Also, in the southwestern part of the park, down in the Wawona area, is Mariposa Grove. We had the good fortune to stay with a great friend of ours, Liana. Shout out to Liana, whose family owns a cabin in the town of Wawona, and go swimming there in the South Fork of the Merced River, explore the historical area, and do a hike out to Chilnuana Falls. And make sure you check out Mariposa Grove and the ancient redwood and sequoia trees that are there, including the grizzly giant. And some of my favorite views in the park are from Glacier Point and the Tunnel View Overlook, as well as, of course, from the summit of Half Dome.
Well, I hope you made it through the entire video. Again, it was my pleasure creating this video for you. It was really a lot of fun going back through all my slides from all my different vacations and reminiscing about the good times and just seeing all the beauty that there is in this country. It really makes you want to get out there and explore and make every minute worth living. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please click like and be sure to subscribe by clicking the little icon down in the lower right-hand corner. Thank you for your support.